Let's see if we can get this thing to focus in here. Yeah. Here we go. Now, I think maybe if I zoomed it, I don't know. You could possibly see the grooves that are in this O-ring here. You can obviously see that it's flattened out, and it's really hard to see what I'm seeing. But for the most part, that's the culprit right there. What's happening is it's actually sucking air, and I'm going to zoom out on this thing now. Zoom is not your friend, by the way. You're doing this business. Down in the bottom there, you see that hole? You can't get your hand down in there because of the ring gear and stuff. So it's kind of a bit of a bastard to do. Now I'm starting to wonder if the guy that did this transmission the last time ever actually replaced this particular O-ring because of the condition that it's in. It's actually far worse than I expected it to be. You can see it's actually chewed up on either side. It's flat. It's just really bad. So anyways, I do have a brand new one here. Actually, here's some of the other two old ones that came out of the pump, and they are in much better shape than the one I just pulled out of that sump hole. So anyway, yeah, if that's the case, and I'm pretty sure that is the case, that it was never repaired or replaced, so, and I could see why. I mean, I got great big behemoth hands. I can't get my hands down in there. I got to figure a way to make these picks do what I need to do down in that hole when I can barely get my hands down in there. So what I think I'm going to do is actually, I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this thing. I got to make this work to my advantage. And I don't have much advantage, you know, with size. My hands are big. So anyways, I'm going to work at that. Probably not going to set the camera up. If I do, it's just going to be a backside shot. You're not going to be able to see what I'm actually doing in there. But you may hear me curse a little bit. Yeah. So anyway, so that's what I'm up against. I actually am ready to go ahead and put the pump back in. I just need to get that O-ring replaced down at the bottom, and we should be good to go on, you know, because I do have the new tubes. I did end up buying new tubes, not just one. I bought them both. Where the hell's the other one? There's this one, and the other one. Where is the other one? Dagnabbit, what'd they do with it? Well, it's around here someplace, that's for sure. I may have it over there. No. Alright, well, I do know for a fact I have both of them. I just got to figure, oh, here it is. Still in the box. So yeah, I have both tubes, so that's not going to be the issue. These don't really have any wear on them that I would complain about, other than where the O-ring is. You can see that there. Yeah, so this is new. The bottom, this is where it goes into the bottom. Damn, it won't focus. That's where it goes into the bottom. So if it's going into the bottom there, and there's only like this little band that isn't beat up, the new one is going to be a great improvement. So anyways, yeah, I'm going to get on to that, and then I'll show you as I put it back together. Well, my little $5 tool, I broke it. This little guy right here. The hook is fine, and that'd probably be fine too, but it had a little extra hook to it, and it broke off. Cheesy little tool. But anyway, so I decided that wasn't long enough and I needed a longer piece, so I made this. I made that little hook there, and what I did was I pushed the O-ring down with that. So I hit the groove, and then I kind of pressed it in, and then I went underneath and pulled it back up. Now you're probably wondering, how'd you make that little tool? Well, it's real simple. Right here on the case of the tractor, I used my ball peen hammer and I flattened that out. This is just a welding rod. I flattened it out, and then I kind of bent it back over again so that it was a nice hook with no sharp edges and a flat edge I could push the O-ring into. And lo and behold, down in the bottom of that hole is a brand new O-ring. So that worked. Now I get to go ahead and put all the giblets back in there for that pump. and then maybe a little later today, when Timothy gets back, we can roll this bad boy back together. So, here we go. Okay, so I've put my sealant on there. There's no gasket that goes to this pump. But I can see the remains, you can see it too, after I cleaned it up, there's still a stain left from the sealer that they had put on at the factory or God knows where. I thought that someone had taken it off and didn't put the new gasket in, but that's not the case. So anyway, I put sealer on the pump housing and I put sealer on the valve housing or the suction housing. It's a valve housing. So now you get to watch me put it together. Dropped in here. This is kind of a tricky situation that we got going on here. All three pieces have got to enter at the same time, if you know what I mean, because I don't know what I mean half the time here. Okay. You can't have them bind, and you can't have them just hanging there for no reason. But there we go. Now, excellent. Alright, what I just did was pretty simple. You see where the pinion gear is? There at the bottom, I don't know if you can see it. At the pinion gear, well, there's the pressure side of the oil that runs the oil up through the pinion gear and lubricates those gears that are up on this shaft way up here. So not doing too bad, I guess. I just have to figure out where my bolt holes are and get everything aligned. I do have to turn the wheel to put the long bolt in, so because there's an extraordinarily long bolt there that needs to be turned or put in order. Wow, why is that like that? I think maybe it goes like a so. I'm gonna try and slide out on me. I'm just trying to turn a wheel. There it is. Are we out of focus? No, we're not out of focus. Okay, so you can see what I've had to do in order to get this down in there. Now what I'll have to do is actually slide that bolt into that hole that's in the differential there. So we're going to have an editing nightmare here. Just trying to do this without any trouble, you know. So I've put that too far down, obviously. So, yes, I'm saying so a lot. Let's get this in here. I'm just trying to figure out where exactly it's supposed to go. I'm thinking it can't be too far off. And it's going to slide in quite a ways, if I remember properly. Where in the hell? Alright, well, here's what we'll do. We've got a couple of bolts here, okay? In order for these to work right, or properly, they have to line up and go in. So, it's just as simple as that. There it is. There it is, okay. So I think that was the issue. Now, oh, yep, there it went. Okay, so, you don't know what is happening here. This is the pump. This is the transmission pump or the primary pump. And what that does is supplies oil to the front pump at the front of the engine on the tractor. Now, honestly, I don't like the way they put these in. They're a pain in the neck, but what you do here, and I'm just going to run through this real quick, is you get these tight, not super tight, but snug tight, these bolts here. This one here you can put in pretty tight. But this one here, this is actually a clinch. And what that does is it forces this pipe, because it is the pressure pipe, to stay in the housing. The old John Deere's, the 4320s, the 4020s, they used the transmission case to actually hold the pipe in. And after about 8,000 or 10,000 hours, it would wear a hole through and you would have no hydraulic pressure. So what has happened with this particular one is that it's not that it wore the hole through it, it wore the O-ring started to blow out and wasn't getting a proper amount of lubrication. So anyways, I'm going to tighten those up now. Quick story about the 4430 here while I'm working on this pump. Now, as you know, the reason I'm changing this pump is because of oil supply. Well, when you start this tractor up in the condition that it was in prior to what I have going on now, you just had absolutely no, let me get this in the right light, absolutely no steering and no brakes on the tractor. You just didn't have it. It was gone. So, anyways, neighbor down the road, I won't mention names, we'll just call him Jack. Anyways, Jack was working here a little bit off and on, and he wanted to, I don't know whether he wanted to use the tractor or I asked him to move the tractor. Anyways, he got in there and I told him, I said, listen, when you start the tractor up, before you take it out of gear, make sure you run the engine up to 1500 RPMs to build pressure so that you'll have brakes and, you know, steering. Well, that went in one ear and out the other, and he started the tractor up and took it out of gear, and the next thing I see a tractor going down across my grandmother's yard. He took out the bell pole, the bell tower, where my grandmother's, you know, ding-dong bell is, and my kids just kind of looked at him like, what the hell are you doing, as they got out of the way. And he ended up finally remembering that I said, hey, make sure you run it up to 1500 RPMs. So I remember him going into full throttle and putting his foot on the getting the brakes on and getting stopped before he went down across the field. So anyways, it's just one of those little silly stories about the tractor. But anyways, yeah, now I've got this thing all back together, and it looks pretty good. This is the suction side. This is the pressure side. So I think everything should be all right. What I'm going to do actually is tap on this here and try to seat it back out, because it is hard up against the case down at the bottom. Not that it will matter because of the O-ring that's in there. So yeah, I'm just going to tap that and seat it up against this keeper here before I go on to the next step. So anyway, I think this is probably enough for one day. So if you like my videos, please comment, rate, and subscribe. The link to my web store is in the description below, unless I have forgotten it. If not, it's onelonelyfarmer.com. Don't forget to check out TireJect.com. They're not really a sponsor, but I'm really digging their product. I've got that stuff in 2 tires now, and let me tell you, I'm more than thrilled, more than beyond thrilled as to the results that I'm getting from TireJect. So anyways, check that out. You can check that out on onelonelyfarmer.com. Anyways, thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, and subscribe.